Hi, I'm Emily Prokop from ePodcast Productions, and some of the common questions that I keep getting after posting the Anchor video are, how does an RSS feed work? Why do I need a hosting company? And how do I submit my podcast to Apple Podcast? So you've recorded your podcast, you've edited your podcast, you've added music to it, and now you're ready to put it into Apple Podcast, which, by the way, will be represented tonight by this purple cup because it's a purple app. So purple cup. But you can't just take your episode, which is represented by water in this case, and just add it in there. It doesn't work like that. What you need is a hosting company, which is represented by this bottle. The hosting companies I recommend are Libsyn, Podbean, and Blueberry. Blueberry has no E's in it. Libsyn is my favorite. It stands for Liberated Syndication. And that's why the water is green, is because I love Libsyn. Libsyn fangirl. So the liquid in here now, this is you setting up your RSS feed with Libsyn. The water in here is your show settings, your artwork, your title, your author tag, your categories, if it's explicit or not, all those tags that you're going to need. And that can be set up in settings in Libsyn. Now you have your first episode ready. It's uploaded to Libsyn. You've filled in the information for that episode. You've put in your title. You've put in your episode number. You've put in the description and any other tags that you want to add. And now it's time to get your RSS feed URL and submit that episode to Apple Podcasts. So for this science experiment, the straw right here is going to represent your RSS feed URL, which you can get in your Libsyn dashboard under Destinations. But before you get your podcast RSS feed and add it into Apple Podcasts, make sure you validate it. So you can go to a place like Podbase, which is podba.se, and you can copy and paste that URL. It's usually your showslug.libsyn.com/RSS if you're hosting with Libsyn. Once it's validated and everything checks out, you're going to take that RSS feed URL and you're going to go to podcastconnect.com. From there, you're going to make an account. Make sure you're using your email address or an email address that you check, because if Apple has a problem with your RSS feed, or if they want to feature you, they're going to look for that email address that you have in your RSS feed. So make sure in Libsyn under settings that you put an email address that you're going to remember to check. Make sure you have at least one episode that's live, that's uploaded into Libsyn, that's ready to go. So once you submit to Apple Podcasts, they're going to come back to you within 24 hours to a week. Some people even get it as soon as a few hours, but you gotta be patient with them, especially around the holidays, because they're checking a lot of feeds to make sure everything is kosher and up to date. So once you have your episode, it's in your RSS feed. You see the little green liquid in there. Apple's approved you. It's gonna go right to Apple. Let's see if I can balance this. There it goes. Your episodes are gonna go to Apple Podcasts as soon as you put them out. You can see Apple Podcasts is getting your episodes. When you add a new episode, Apple Podcasts is going to automatically get it. Science! You're going to do the same thing for most other podcast apps. Unfortunately, I've tried this before. Doesn't always work. But say these are still the same RSS feed. Still going to siphon into those other podcast apps. But it's still all going to come from Libsyn or your hosting company that you choose. So, to recap, the bottle right here is your hosting company. The green liquid that you see is what you have in your settings that's already in your RSS feed, which is the straw. That includes your show title, your author tags, your artwork, if it's explicit or not, the categories, any other tags that you have. And that's going to go to the different podcast apps. That also includes your first episode, or your trailer, or a promo episode. As you add more episodes, it's going to automatically go to Apple Podcasts or the other podcast apps that you've submitted your RSS feed to. I hope that explains it, and if you have kids, this is a fun science experiment to try, by the way. Alright guys, hope that helped. If you have any questions, please email me, emily@epodcastproductions.com. Check out my other video about Anchor and to make sure that you submit your podcast yourself to places like Apple Podcasts if you're hosting with Anchor, which I don't necessarily recommend. Oh, and one more thing. If you're looking to host your podcast on Libsyn, Podbean, and Blueberry, use my buddy Dave Jackson's code SOPFREE to get the remainder of this month, plus an entire month free on Libsyn, Podbean, or Blueberry. It's awesome. Check it out. Also, my cat likes to join these videos. You're gonna go... Come on, cat! Don't shake your tail at me like that.